Everybody. Zach King here. Uh, what I would like to talk about today is judgment, which takes place in many forms, and oftentimes it's the littlest thing. One thing that brought this about was the current political debate. Like Trump is calling Hillary a nasty woman. Hillary was firing back at him. And when it comes to these political parties and the media, they often focus on the stupidest thing to judge them about. Like in the case of Hillary, instead of directly insulting her, they insult her husband. They go after the emails from her past only, not what she stands for now. Uh, Trump, it's like a mix of his past, how he treats women, his bankruptcies, although some of those may be relevant, but this might be a liberal standpoint. Uh, Oftentimes, they focused on the past as the reason to judge them and as to why they're not good enough today. And things like this are just one of many things that are judged uh, about. Like, we find one thing that we don't like about them, and because of that, they're bad, period. End of story. Uh, like, to go on the list, when it comes to me as an Aspie, uh, I've been called stupid, retarded, and one case that I have posted about in the past month was I was playing one of my favorite games, and it was a multiplayer online game, and there was some guy who came onto the server and started talking about how autistics were mistakes that their mothers wish they had aborted, and like everyone on the server started getting on his case. And I mentioned I was autistic, and right before he left, he said, "If you're autistic, I pity you." And the way I took to that is, well, why should I worry about that? Because I don't regret being born, and neither do my parents. But he just decided that because I was autistic, I was not good enough and that nothing else about me would change that. And then when it comes to gays, lesbians, transgender, are called weird, they're called faggots, they're called mistakes. When it comes to hmm, when it comes to the kid with glasses and braces like I was, they're called nerds, they're called weirdos. The girl who likes to dress how she does, even if it looks a bit revealing, she's called a slut. She's called a whore. All of these things, all based off of like physical appearance, which I judge as one of the stupidest things that you can judge someone for because it's based on what you see, and that's just the outside. Uh, when it comes to these things, uh, and here's another touchy thing: when it comes to religion, uh, Christians are often thought of as being bigots, like Bible thumpers, and that's based off a generalization of some of them. And when it comes to atheists, we're considered immoral. We're considered devils. Like there was one point where I was defending a friend on Facebook by someone who was getting on one of my friend's cases for being atheist, and when I stepped in, the man like harassing her was calling me an atheist devil simply because I was atheist. But that's another one of those judgments that doesn't make sense, if you ask me, because I have been judged before for being atheist. Like, there have been a couple cases where they found out I was atheist and they were believers, and case closed. They couldn't stay in contact with me whatsoever just because I didn't believe what they believed. Uh, when it comes to those things, I often think it is like very shallow of them to do this because you don't take the time to get to know the person. What you do is you use your own views, your own point of view, and you decide, like right then and there, like you start looking for what is not good enough in that person. And when you find that one thing, you're like, okay, they're bad. That's it. I'm gonna go away. And then you call them that. Like, again, I'm atheist, so I'm bad, according to some Christians. I am autistic, so I'm retarded, according to some people. And oftentimes, I know that you've come across this stuff too. Like, if you're smart, you're called nerdy, you're called geeky. It's the list of insults and like shallowness that some people exert is endless. It's just insane. But one thing I have done when I start judging mentally. Like one of my strengths is reading and reading words. I When we were doing read alouds in humanities class, uh, there were some kids who were not catching words quite as easily as I do, and I was like, "Are they dumb?" And then I immediately stopped myself and said, "Hey, maybe that is not their strength. They've got other strengths though that counteract that because we all have strengths and weaknesses." Uh, but focusing on the weaknesses is just the easy way out of getting to talk to or know somebody. So what I do is I acknowledge that that may be a weakness of theirs, and then I go on to say that just because it's a weakness doesn't mean they're bad. They have strengths too. So why not focus on those and don't give them a hard time? So what I do when I talk to people is even when they acknowledge like their negatives, I focus on their positives. Because what's the point in judging them based off their weaknesses? I don't want to make them feel like crap. Because what kind of a humanist would I be if I focused on the negatives? So I hope this has been helpful for you. I understand if it was a little all over the place. I haven't done these in a while. But next time you go about judging somebody, make sure you clarify to yourself that you may be judging them based on a weakness and that there is good in them. That you don't, uh, that you don't need to just say that that they aren't necessarily a bad person because you found that one thing you don't like. Because all of us have our strengths and weaknesses, and in retrospect, that makes us who we are. Like, there's no changing that. So why go on about it if it's not going to do you any good? All right. I hope this has been helpful for you. Uh, it was great doing this. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.